Something wild is going on here, guys. Quick shout outs to Gothic Therapy for the video, Master of the TDS, Riding Raven. They made a video exposing something wild about Sweet Baby Inc. We're going to get into it. We're also going to read this article from Park Place that's talking about it. But before we get into it, if you enjoy this content, please hit that subscription button down below. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. So it really seems like Sweet Baby Inc. was hoping gamers would just move on from talking about them, right? In fact, this is the first time I've addressed Sweet Baby Inc. in quite some time. I think months, right? They were probably hoping that the outrage would fade and that people would stop caring about who's pulling the strings behind the scenes. But no, that hasn't happened. Now gamers are digging deeper than ever before, researching every new release, checking the credits to games, and calling out any connections to narrative consultancy firms or groups like Sweet Baby Inc. And now, thanks to some new reporting, as I mentioned, from Gothic Therapy, we may be looking at a hidden origin story that they didn't want anyone to uncover. There's a potential founder who's been completely scrubbed from the public, and the more that you look into it, the weirder it gets. But again, anything is possible with Sweet Baby Inc., as they've showed. This article is wild. I read it and I watched Gothic Therapy's video and I could not believe myself. So here's the deal. They've been pretty quiet lately. Probably because the last time they were in the spotlight, it didn't go well. The response to backlash involved the usual playbook: accusations of bigotry, Twitter meltdowns, screaming Gamergate 2.0 like it still means anything, right? It didn't work, and now they're clearly trying to do a different strategy. That's just don't talk. But thanks to a new investigation by Gothic Therapy, hosted by Riding Raven and Master of the TDS, things are heating up again. They made an expose that literally dives into the actual founding of Sweet Baby Inc., and it calls into question everything we've been told. So this video claims that there's someone who helped create the company, and then they mysteriously were erased from all official documentation. So publicly, Sweet Baby Inc. has always claimed that their three founders were Kim Belair, Dave Bedard, and Ariadne MacGillivray, and I probably mispronounced and butchered her name. But yeah, that's a group of friends who supposedly wanted to fix storytelling in games. That's the origin story that they pushed for years at all their press conferences, their interviews, their panels. But Gothic Therapy's research into government filings suggests that someone else was involved right from the beginning, a man named Jason Huberts, who was listed on day one as the freaking vice president, a director, and a shareholder, and he wasn't just tagging along. His name appeared next to Belair and MacGillivray as a key founder, but by 2019 he was wiped from the paperwork in a formal correction, and his shares were reassigned to Belair. Bedard, for his part, didn't even join the company until 2020, guys, despite being labeled a co-founder. That alone makes the timeline sketchy as best. So what's even more bizarre is on the exact same day in 2018, from the same Montreal address, Jason Huberts also registered a second company alongside Sweet Baby Inc. One of these entities mysteriously vanished, right? The other became a go-to for narrative diversity consultants, right, working with AAA publishers. So who's Jason Huberts? Well, here's where it gets wild, right? Apparently in the late 1980s, there was a man named Terry Huberts. And Terry served in British Columbia's legislature as Minister of Parks. And his interviews from that era, he mentioned having a son named Jason. Combine that with the matching names, addresses, and timing. Gothic Therapy claims the statistical odds of all this lining up by accident are something like 1 in 100 million. Now, back, according to this article and the video, back in 1989, Terry Huberts authored a government policy outlining how private contractors could be embedded into public systems quietly with no oversight. That language, quite embedded without scrutiny, eerily mirrors what Sweet Baby Inc. seems to have done in the gaming industry. If Jason's related to that legacy, it raises some questions, some serious questions about the real purpose of Sweet Baby Inc. Even more curious is on the same day that they registered Sweet Baby Inc., they also locked down a second alias designed Sweet Baby. Why? Was it a backup plan in case the original name became radioactive? Were they laying the groundwork for a studio? It's not clear, but the timing suggests that they were thinking long term here, guys. And this article, again, like I mentioned in Part Place, literally shows screenshots, talks about it, has records, emails from the office of the clerk. This is wild. And all this actually paints a picture of an organization that didn't grow organically, guys. This looks like it was curated. It was calculated. And it's possibly connected to people that had ties to government infrastructure. And I know this sounds like a big conspiracy theory, but the more that you deep dive into this, the more that you look into the video, the articles and stuff, this is wild. Okay? Belair may have been chosen specifically to be the front of the company, the figurehead, giving it to a friendly face while someone stayed in the shadows. And to be clear, this is speculative, right? Not everything has been 100% confirmed, but the documents are real. The discrepancies in the founder timeline are real, and there's an effort to erase one man from the company's origin story, which is freaking real. And why is this something that is allegedly being hidden? Because they have agendas. They have people behind them backing them up. This is literally like a cover-up. This is a cover-up, guys. And this is why I feel gamers need to ask questions. This is why I feel when we have any kind of questions about any kind of like transparency from consulting companies that want to come in and make companies follow their protocol, follow their guidelines, follow their narratives, or else they get canceled, which is allegedly what Sweet Baby Inc. does. We got to ask questions, guys. This is why we shouldn't let things go, because a company that has this much influence over gaming narratives, they literally have built a foundation on deception and manipulation. They got journalists writing hit pieces on people. They got journalists basically taking legal bullets for them. There's so much weird things going on with this company. So many weird bad faith actors that will die on sword for it, to the point where you got to wonder just how deep this goes, how deep the wallets and the pockets go with this company. And all this should be called out. And they need to be honest, but they're not. Sweet Baby Inc. may branded itself as a champion of representation, but more and more it looks like it was just another machine built for control. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. This is a rabbit hole of all sorts. Go check out Gothic Therapy's video. I'm going to leave a link down below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, hit like or dislike, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. This is a story that's updating as we go.